thanks so much. I just got back from Fort Pierce, where Governor Ron DeSantis was discussing the economy and taxes at Indian River State College. We talked about Central Florida and also the growing controversy over an organization linked to his wife. It concerns a $10 million payment that some say was inappropriately used to help campaign against a ballot measure that would have legalized recreational marijuana in the state last November. The Florida House has abruptly ended their probe into Hope, Florida. It was alleged that Governor DeSantis' administration diverted $10 million from a Medicaid settlement into the program tied to his wife. As we toured the St. Johns River with Senator Scott and his party, we could see a lot of the homes flooded out here. The St. Johns River also has issues because smaller canals also flow water into here that can cause flooding even if it's not raining. I'm on the escalator in Terminal A on the way to baggage claim. This is the part where you get off and you cross your fingers that your bags don't take a long time to come. Remember this drone show in Orlando last month? The video went viral after that horrifying accident at Lake Eola on December 21st. A 7-year-old boy named Alexander was hit in the chest by a falling drone. Well, today was the City of Orlando's first council meeting since the accident happened. I went and asked for an update, but they wouldn't give me a comment, saying all questions needed to be directed to the NTSB.
Arriving there tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, that is absolutely right. It's amazing how quickly they put all of this together. And I'm outside right now in the Everglades area, and it looks very calm and peaceful, but this place is dangerous. It's full of alligators and pythons, and the people who are there, they're not going to be able to escape. Take a look.
We're surrounded by miles of treacherous swampland, and the only way out is really deportation.
This was the roundtable President Donald Trump held after he was given a tour of Alligator Alcatraz by Governor Ron DeSantis. I was just a few feet away as they discussed this facility that's about 50 miles west of Miami. It's designed to house migrants apprehended in Florida and around the country, primarily for deportation. It's expected to hold around 3,000 to 5,000 illegals. And I'm told it's possible some from Osceola County and other parts of Central Florida may end up here. The name Alligator Alcatraz is meant to emphasize this dangerous environment. The place is huge, and I had a chance to see some of the heavy-duty tents and trailers that they're using to create this detention center. Some tents had rows and rows of beds. The compound is absolutely huge, and you can see barbed wire surrounding a lot of the area. President Trump had significant praise for Governor DeSantis, who told me there could be other partnerships like this with the federal government, since this is not a long-term setup. Become permanent?
This is a temporary facility to be able to meet the needs of President Trump's program.
I also had a chance to ask President Trump about what's next for the country. President Trump? President Trump?
Yes.
President Trump, Laverne McGee, News 6 Orlando. You fulfilled several campaign promises along with the help of Governor Ron DeSantis. What is the next campaign promise that you plan to fulfill to the American people?
So we have turned this country around in less than 6 months. We're in the world. We're the hottest country in the world right now. And we turned it around fast. I thought it would take longer than this. We turned it around fast. Some of it was psychology.
President Trump very impressed by what he saw here. I'll have more of that conversation coming up for you at 5. And once again, this area here looks peaceful, but a very dangerous place, and they're saying that's part of the security. Reporting live from the Everglades, Laverne McGee, News 6. I was one of just a handful of journalists from across the country who was allowed to actually go inside Alligator Alcatraz when it opened on July 1st. It's a very large facility, and I was able to see fenced-in beds and the extensive security on the outside with lots of barbed wire. The site is an old airport just outside Miami, and I was also there when President Trump flew in on Air Force One, landing just feet away from the detention center. Florida Attorney General James Utmeyer is the one who came up with the idea. I asked him about this controversial location.
As you can see, it's a pretty sophisticated operation. We'll have other sites like this in Florida. And when it comes to helping President Trump deliver on his mission to secure the border once and for all, this is how we're going to get it done.
I was also able to ask President Trump a question at the roundtable discussion he had after the tour. Go to clickorlando.com to see the full story. Something else you touched on today was Hope, Florida. I'd like you to clear that up. It sounds like there's a lot of misunderstanding around it. Help us understand why they're saying that the money was used improperly and what the real situation is.
Well, first, Hope Florida is not a charity, which they're trying to talk about the affiliated charity, which has done a lot of good. But Hope Florida is our state program to utilize all the resources in community outside of government, our churches, our charities, our businesses, our individuals. So when people are in need, the job of the bureaucrat is now to be a navigator and help them navigate to all the resources, not just government resources. So my wife spearheaded our First Lady. It's now saved the taxpayers $100 million, and it's gotten 30,000 people off of means-tested welfare. That's a success story, and I think these are political attacks where they're trying to impugn that, and that's totally unfair and unnecessary. Now, what they're trying to say is our Agency for Healthcare Administration did a settlement with a group, one of the Medicaid providers, Centene, last year, and basically they were trying to say, oh, well, they gave money to the charity, and they were trying to say, and then what happened yesterday? The agency produced the underlying documentation. There was a $56 million agreement to recoup the Medicaid funds, and then Centene agreed to do a $10 million private donation to the DSO affiliated with Department of Children and Families. Totally appropriate. It advanced the state's interests, and I think people know that, but I think what they're trying to do is throw up smoke to try to impugn Hope Florida, because I think they view it as a threat. I think they view the First Lady as a threat politically, and so that's where this is all coming from.
Governor DeSantis also talked about immigration, tariffs, and condo fees. I'll have much more coming up at 6, and you can also go to clickorlando.com for more. Hurricane Milton is behind us, but flooding is still impacting people along the St. Johns River. Record levels have been set in Astor, where Senator Rick Scott, Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood, and Lake County Sheriff Peyton Grinnell led a team to survey the damage. First, they toured the area from the sky. Then, we went out on the river with them and captured this video of miles of flooded homes and buildings. As we toured the St. Johns River with Senator Scott and his party, we could see a lot of the homes flooded out here. The St. Johns River also has issues because smaller canals also flow water into here that can cause flooding even if it's not raining. The St. Johns River at Astor rose to 4.8 feet in flood stage. That beats the record set back in 2022 after Hurricane Ian, which was 4.7 feet. You had this tour with Senator Scott. What did you see on the St. Johns River?
What we saw is, this is historic. I think the flooding is higher than it was during Ian. And now, here we are 3 days out, and people think, well, the hurricane's gone, but no, the effects are still there. The folks that live inland by the river are going to start to see more and more flooding, and that's what our concern is.
As they continue to monitor the river, the other concern is getting aid to these communities. Senator, we keep hearing that there may or may not be enough money in FEMA. Can you put anybody's mind at ease as to the funds that people will be able to access?
We'll make sure there's money. I talked to the president about it 2 days ago. I talked to the administrator of FEMA. I said, get us a number. So we'll figure out how to get the funding. On top of that, SBA, their loan program is not funded right now. So the FEMA, the biggest thing they do besides coordinating things, they have individual assistance.
It's possible the St. Johns River could peak in the next couple of days before receding. Officials say it could take over a month for the St. Johns River to completely flush itself out to the Atlantic Ocean, but it depends on how much rainfall the area gets. Laverne McGee, Getting Results, News 6. Take a look behind me. Look at our awesome volunteers here. I'm old school, so I like to talk on the phone to somebody. You don't often get to do that, so isn't this great? You can actually call in 1-888-436-6665. Call in right now, and I have a special guest with me here. I have Mary Jane Arrington. She's the Osceola County Supervisor of Elections. She's actually the longest serving Supervisor of Elections in Central Florida right now, so a wealth of knowledge. Thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Tell me.
I'm here. We're here to take your calls. The number one call we are receiving is interest in voting by mail. The law has changed, and so you have to request a ballot. If you haven't requested one this year, then you need to give us a call here or call your local supervisor of elections office. The other thing you can do is go to any of our websites of your supervisor of election and check your voter status. And by doing that, it will tell you if you have a mail ballot request or where you can vote by mail or where our early voting sites are. So we want everyone to vote however it's convenient for them. That's your choice. And we're here to answer any questions.
That is so awesome. It is so important to vote. Explain to people what these ballots are like, because we know in the primary that's different than a general, and your county has 37% NPA. Is that correct?
Right. In the primary, you receive a ballot by your party, but in the general election, everyone is going to be receiving the same ballot in your precinct. So it's going to be a long ballot because there's 6 constitutional amendments, and there may be some local initiatives also. So when you get that sample ballot from your supervisor, study up on it so you'll be prepared to vote when you go to vote.
Supervisor Arrington, thank you so much, and thanks to our great volunteers back here. Make sure you call in. They are ready to take your calls. Are we going to see you?
This is our 33rd year here at Halloween Horror Nights, Orlando, Florida, and we have 10 haunted houses this year, 5 incredible scare zones, and we're also bringing back Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus, which is an incredible and fantastic live show for our guests.
Those creatures, if they hear you, they will hunt you. So, Quiet Place, we're also featuring in A Quiet Place American Sign Language, which the main character, Reagan, she is deaf and she performs American Sign Language. We have amazing content, 10 incredible haunted houses, 5 scare zones, a live show, and so much more. Our chefs have gone outside of their comfort zone, creating amazing specialty foods. We also have incredible, unique merchandise. There's something for everyone at Halloween Horror Nights.
Listen to my whisper.
These 5 scare zones are incredibly immersive. They're all very different to each other, and they provide our guests with some really cool, unique experiences.
Everybody's going to love this character.
Yeah. Now, this is Phoebe Spangler, and Phoebe is fighting Goraka, the big bad. Goraka's terrifying. Way too big. We have Nadim over here fighting. They have teamed up, and they can bring this monster down. Hopefully, or else we might all just freeze to death.
Halloween Horror Night starts on Friday and runs until November 3rd.
These are some of the horrifying monsters that you'll find in our Monstros, Monsters of Latin America house. And this is El Sabon and Muerte.
El Muerte.
Yes. En Muerte, yes. Death is behind us.
This is too scary for me. I'm out of here. Kelly, are you sure this is a safe place to hide?
They're coming from everywhere.
Laverne McGee, Getting Results News 6. Thank you for staying up with us late. I'm Laverne McGee. Matt and Ginger have the night off. So a viewer emailed us about what he described as thousands of white plastic circle discs washing up on Sanford's waterfront. So I spent the afternoon along Lake Monroe checking them out for myself. His hunch was right. The discs are coming from Sanford's North Water Treatment Facility. So what are they? I pressed the city and got some answers.
There's like 10 of them right here.
I met Jessica walking along Seminole Boulevard across from Lake Monroe in Sanford. She showed me where she and her 5-year-old daughter Zola have been seeing these odd little plastic discs with holes in them.
They were all up and down by the water, so you could tell they like washed out with the water. Them and the little shells everywhere.
They look just like the picture we got from our viewer tip who sent this photo in to our results desk. I walked for about a half a mile along the water's edge and saw about 20 of them.
It's beautiful out here, and you can see how windy it is. It's easy to see why these discs would get blown around here.
We asked the city of Sanford what these are, and they gave us this statement that says, in part, the discs are not related to the reclaimed water issues that the city's North Water Reclamation Facility is currently working through. It's part of a treatment process at that plant that washed out during a previous incident. After the incident occurred, city staff did an initial cleanup of the surrounding areas. City staff continues to pick up the discs and clean the areas whenever they see them or they're reported to us. The discs do not pose a health risk. But Jessica worries about her daughter's safety and has warned her not to pick them up.
Do you feel like the city should explain a little bit more?
Yeah, if we're finding them, we should know it. We should have the opportunity to know what they are.
Do you live around here?
Yeah, we live here in Sanford.
Close by?
Well, over on 25th Street.
Also new tonight, unwelcome insect invaders traveling in packs and quickly growing in numbers.
They're looking for a few good gardens to graze on. So a viewer in DeBary asked us to find out what they are. News 6's Mike Valenti took on the challenge to find out about the eastern lubber grasshoppers. And he tells us what you can do to get results and protect your plants.
To be honest, as we hopped around this DeBary neighborhood, we kept striking out. No signs of the eastern lubber grasshopper. The full name was not exactly familiar to neighbors, but when we mentioned the words grasshopper and annoying, John Ryan knew exactly what we were talking about. What do they look like?
They look like big, ugly critters, black and white and yellow.
So, I guess starting real basic, what is it?
Well, it's just a great big grasshopper that bothers people.
Dr. Norman Lepla is a professor of entomology at the University of Florida.
Well, it eats their plants primarily. It's also somewhat toxic, so animals can get perhaps a little sick from chewing on them. It isn't a real problem, but people need to be aware that they do have toxic chemicals in them.
Emitting toxins helps these things avoid becoming prey, but that does not mean they're invincible.
Hundreds. I had hundreds, and I had them all over. They say you got to kill them when they're young, real small. When they get bigger, they're hard to kill.
We did eventually find these guys hanging out on plants and trees on Lantana Drive in DeBary. It was hard to miss them.
They're episomatic, it's called. It's a big word. It means that they advertise their presence. And so you won't have any problem seeing them. They're brightly colored.
The way some people describe them, it's like they can see them in their nightmares.
They're ugly and they're quick and they jump.
So while they may be a nuisance and not exactly pleasant to look at, the professor says they're not dangerous to people.
Well, humans don't generally try to eat them. I suppose if a kid ate them, they might get a little sick, but they're not dangerous.
And the good news is they have one generation per year. So eventually they will go away, and you'll forget about them until they hop back into our lives next year. Mike Valenti, Getting Results, News 6.
New tonight out of Volusia County, deputies shared body cam video as they approached a 4-year-old boy who was found wandering alone in people's backyards. A neighbor was worried because the boy was trying to get into their above-ground pool. So you can see one of the deputies picking up the little boy. They go door to door looking for where he lives. Now, someone who has a small child gives him a shirt and some shoes to wear to keep him warm. The boy was spotted on Devonshire Street in Deltona around dinner time last night. His home was just a couple of blocks away, but what they found out when they knocked on the door was that his mother and an unrelated roommate are facing felony charges now. Here's body cam video from later on when they took that man, RM Pastor, into custody. He told deputies he noticed the boy's mother left the house without a word to anyone to watch over her son. But they say Pastor himself later went to the store knowing the boy was unsupervised. Pastor and the mother, Alicia Solaro, both are facing felony child neglect charges. When deputies reached the father, he left work and picked up his son as soon as he could. They say that dad did nothing wrong. Well, it's a sigh of relief for people living in Ormond Beach after months of pushback from people living nearby. The company behind plans for a controversial fuel terminal announced they're switching to a new site in another county, Flagler. That $75 million fuel storage facility is now proposed for Palm Coast. It would go off PV grade and US 1 near one of the city's wastewater treatment plants. Over the last 2 years, Volusia County residents fought against Belvedere building on its original proposed site off Hull Road in Ormond Beach. They were worried about it being too close to homes, a sports complex, and businesses. Volusia County leaders then got $10 million from the state to give Belvedere if they'd move their project elsewhere.